With that down, let's move on to our third main topic today. And our third main topic today gets sent in to us from Ali M, who writes, "Greetings and salutations, Mr. C. Many of us got excited when we heard that another Spawn movie, well, I'm glad some of you were, that another Spawn movie was coming from the creator himself, Todd McFarlane. But then, nothing's happened in ages. Read today that the money people are holding it up because they're not getting on board with his vision. Don't you think they should just trust the creator and get on board? Why do they have to try to exert control over the man's character and property? Thank you, and bring on the filthy." All right, thanks a lot for that, Aliem. And yeah, as we've talked about this, oh gosh, I feel like it's been over a year now, that Todd McFarlane, the creator of the Spawn comic book, had decided he was going to write and direct his own Spawn movie. And he got a couple of high-profile people. He got Jamie Foxx to sign up. He got Jeremy Renner to sign up to be in it, all that kind of stuff. And everything seemed to be moving forward. And then, dead silence. We haven't heard anything about it in a while. Well, now Todd McFarlane, good Canadian kid, by the way, has come out and he's explained why there's been a holdup. And here's what Todd McFarlane had to say. "The money's sitting on the sidelines ready to go. I just need to get everybody that wants to put in money to shake their heads to the same script. As you can imagine, everyone has a slightly different version of it in their head. You just go and trying to appease a handful of people while not giving in to what it is that I'm trying to do myself. Because if I have to change it too much, I'll just walk away from it all." So basically what it sounds like here is Todd McFarlane wants to make this movie. By the way, he hasn't got the slightest clue of how to make a movie. Just want to throw that out there. Good Canadian kid, but he doesn't have the slightest clue on how to make a movie. But he wants to make this movie. He's got people ready to fund it, but he can't get everybody on board with his vision for the movie. As Ali is asking, should these people with the purse strings be ready just to get on board with whatever Todd McFarlane wants to do? And I'll tell you what my answer to that is, hell no. Hell no. Look, if I'm the guy with the money and it's my money and you come to me asking me to give you money so you can make your movie, I want to know a couple of things. I want to know, number one, that this is going to be good and could potentially make us some money. If I'm going to give you my money to do it, I want to make sure I'm going to get my money back and a little bit on top. And the reality here is Todd is a guy who hasn't got the first idea about how to make a film. He knows how to make comic books. Hell yes, he does. But he's never directed a film before. You know, X-Men, Dark Phoenix, anybody? I mean, he's never made a film before. Now, granted, this isn't going to be a $200 million film. But look, I got to tell you what, I know everybody wants to go, yes, the purity of the creator's vision and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's great. Then pay for it your damn self. Because if somebody else has got to put up their money and their neck on the line and their financial future on the line, they're going to want to make sure, and so would you, you're going to want to make sure that everything is being done to give this movie the best chance of success. And if you're dealing with a creator and a filmmaker who has never made a film before, there's going to be some apprehension. Now, for all I know, Rob, all these other people are being idiots. For all I know, Todd McFarlane's got a great movie idea. It's wonderful. It'll be commercially successful. It'll be artistically fulfilling and all that kind of stuff. And maybe just these money people are idiots and don't know what they're talking about and they're just being difficult. That's a possibility here too. But I got to tell you, Rob, I am not surprised in the least to hear that there's a holdup. It's like, really? Comic book creator who just wants to make the movie himself and pull up some money, and there's being some creative differences? You don't say. I'm not surprised to hear this at all. Again, I'm not saying Todd's in the wrong. I'm not saying the money people are in the wrong. I'm just saying this doesn't surprise me in the least. And for Todd to kind of beat his chest and go, if they don't get on board with my vision, I'm just going to walk away. If I'm the money guy, I'm probably, bye. I mean, if you don't want to take my money to make a movie that we think can work right, okay. Bye. I mean, it's everybody is an expert on how to spend other people's money. Everyone is an expert on how to spend other people's money. But look, I'm not saying who's in the wrong here. I'm just saying I'm not surprised to hear that there's a creative clash going on. Rob, you're hearing about this. You know, I'm sure you've probably seen many situations like this. How do you respond to this story?
Well, first of all, it's not like the Spawn franchise has a storied history in Hollywood.
This is true.
We had one movie that was basically the Hellboy movie that just came out. That was the first Spawn movie. And it was kind of a disaster, really. And the animated series was cool. I thought the animated series was really good. I have the first 100 issues of the Spawn comic. I bought them as they came out. I just don't know if Spawn really lends itself to the movie-going audience in this day and age. I don't know if Spawn is actually the best character. If you've got money and you have as many comic book characters to make movies out of as we have today, would Spawn be your first choice? I don't know.
Well, I mean, we are looking right now in an era where every other studio, guys, is probably desperately looking for how they can get on this comic book movie train. And there's only so much to go around.
Right.
Because the two big suppliers, DC and Marvel, they're spoken for over at Disney and Warner Brothers. So you're looking for other things. So I can see the appeal. Because look, Spawn is a recognizable IP name. I mean, Rob, you got the 100 issues, right? It's you name Spawn.
And many action figures.
And great action figures, by the way.
Yep.
Wonderful. Seriously, as much as it sounds like I'm slagging on Todd McFarlane, the way Todd McFarlane has shepherded his own IP with this thing, movies aside, it's nothing short of revolutionary what he did. And if you go back and read his story about how he was in the main comic book system, kind of a little bit of a revolt and rebellion that he was one of the head guys of, really going out on his own, making a big successful comic book outside of the main comic book titles. I mean, it's inspiring stuff. So I don't know. Aaron is somebody who's worked in movies and television, been around the creative field and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you've seen situations like this. Do you think this is something that's out of the ordinary? And do you think they can get over this and actually get this movie made?
Well, my first instinct is always to put the suits on mute. Because, I mean, I've just been in so many situations, whether it's on network or in cable. And I remember distinctly having a conversation with Stephen S. DeKnight, the creator of Spartacus, and asking him, do you prefer network or cable? And he said, ultimately, cable, because you, as a creator, have a lot more control. And you don't have to listen to show notes from somebody that got a general business degree and doesn't have a creative bone in their body. A lot of times on these phone calls, everybody's just trying to earn their paycheck. And so even if they love everything that's going on, they feel like they need to add their own, well, what if she had red hair? Well, what if he was wearing a blue tie? You know, everybody feels like they need to give some input. So I'm usually on the side of the creator. That being said, the role of a director is not just knowing what camera angles and how to, coerce an actor into crying. It's also about cultivating a community and bringing everyone together. There's a lot of personalities on a set, and this raises some red flags when I hear it, because I go, all right, if you're going to take that very public stance of saying, well, it's my way or the highway, then that is indicative of how you will be as a director on set. And you cannot be a my way or the highway director on set and not expect to have any production problems. So what I would encourage him to do is to really sit down and figure out a compromise, because ultimately, they are taking a huge risk on a first-time filmmaker. And maybe there's a possibility, I don't know what his contract says, but there's even a possibility they might say, how about this? We'll take the script, but you're not going to direct it, and we're going to have someone do a rewrite on it. I see that happen all the time. So I would encourage him, if he wants to make this movie, to find a compromise and not dig his heels in the sand. Make the movie that you want to make, but figure out where you have your wiggle room and understand that the people who are paying for it, they're going to have some opinions too, and you just got to figure out which ones are the ones to listen to.
Now, of course, the money people can't take this away from him. He owns Spawn. But,
okay, so there's no way. Okay.
Yeah, there's no out there, but everything you're saying too, and Rob, to what Aaron was just saying, you've often talked about how basically one of the jobs of a director on a set is to also kind of be a diplomat in some ways. And you got to be able to pull these things together. Like, I know you've worked on films. I've heard like a lot of diplomacy needs to be done behind the camera to get it done. And I don't know if going out publicly and saying, and throwing the money guys under the bus and saying, I mean, he worded it nicely. He did. But still, the bottom line message of the statement was, these money guys aren't getting on board with my vision. If they don't, I'm going to walk. That's basically how it comes across. I don't know if that's good diplomacy. Like, isn't that a little counterproductive, Rob?
Well, look, you want to please your money people, because if your money people are pleased, then you get to make more movies. and one of the great joys of being on a set is basically you're like the president of a country. You're leading by your example, and what you have to know how to do as a director is to utilize all the resources that your country has, bring them all together, inspire your troops, and they will get behind you because you're all working to make something that's greater than the sum of its parts, which is the TV show or the movie that you're working on. So that's part of it. And you have to have an attitude. You have to have an attitude of collaboration. The first and foremost, when you're making anything, any kind of filmed entertainment, because everybody, all of these moving parts are vital to the success of whatever it is that you're doing. Beginning with the money people. That's where it all begins. You have to get the money to get all these other great people on set to achieve that vision that you hopefully have. So, when you're publicly dissing on the people that maybe will finance your movie, you're kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Unless there's things we don't already know.
Right, well, which is always nine times out of 10 is usually the case. So here's hoping they were able to pull this together. What do you guys think about these comments? Are you surprised that there was delays on this? Do you think they're going to be able to get all their ducks in a row and get this thing finally made? Are you even interested in a Spawn movie? Jump down to the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, with that down.